and the future of freedom hung in the balance. Chapter 24. A New Dawn. The Power of Technology for the Greater Good. Stealthily. In Part 1, we explored the darker side of technological advancement, seeing how power in the hands of a few has, time and again, been used to dominate, control, and exploit. From the Maxim gun and machine guns during the scramble for Africa, to the nuclear bomb and artificial intelligence in the hands of authoritarian regimes, history offers countless examples of how those who have unique access to powerful technologies can misuse them to perpetuate inequality, repression, and suffering. Each of these stories reinforced the critical argument that access to technology must be democratized, and that technological progress, if left unchecked and unregulated, risks deepening societal divides. However, technology is not inherently destructive. While it holds the potential for oppression, it also harbors the power to liberate, empower, and uplift humanity when it is shared equitably and used for the common good. The second part of this book will shift focus from instances of misuse to inspiring examples of how technological advances have profoundly benefited society, particularly when they have been made available to the broader public, rather than being hoarded by an elite few. Here we will delve into how innovations like the printing press, electricity, the internet, and open-source software have transformed human lives by spreading knowledge, enhancing freedom, and promoting social mobility. Part 2 is built on the premise that access to technology is not a privilege but a right, a fundamental human right that enables individuals to fully participate in the modern world. As we move into this new section, it's important to reflect on the potential for technological advancements, like artificial intelligence, AI, to be harnessed for the common good, improving lives globally when equitable access is ensured. We will examine historical precedents where opening up access to new technologies has spurred widespread benefits, not only for individuals, but for entire societies. In Chapter 24, we begin by laying the groundwork for this transition. To do this, we will first explore the philosophy that underpins the idea of technology for the people, examining how, throughout history, inventions and innovations have had transformative effects when made accessible to the masses. We'll look at how breakthroughs such as the printing press radically altered the distribution of knowledge, how electrification changed economies and standards of living, and how the internet revolutionized communication, commerce, and education. The key theme we'll explore is how democratized access to technology has consistently been the most powerful driver of social progress. We'll also emphasize the importance of ensuring that AI follows this same path, a path where access to its capabilities is a right for all, not a privilege for the few. Technology, a double-edged sword. Throughout history, technological innovation has consistently been a double-edged sword. On one side, it holds immense potential for progress, liberation, and the elevation of the human condition. On the other side, if monopolized by the powerful, it becomes a tool of domination and exploitation. In Part 1, we saw how technological advancements were often seized by those in power and wielded as weapons. For many tyrants and empires, control over technology meant control over people. The creation of the Maxim gun, for instance, allowed a small number of British soldiers to dominate entire African armies, ensuring colonial supremacy. Similarly, the atomic bomb created a new era of fear and a global arms race, where the mere possession of such devastating technology became a geopolitical bargaining chip. But to view technology solely as a means of destruction is to only see half of the picture. The reality is that technology has also been the great equalizer throughout history, particularly when it is distributed widely, made accessible to ordinary people, and used to foster collective progress rather than to hoard power. Let's consider a few historical examples where opening up access to technology sparked positive, even revolutionary changes in society. The printing press. Democratizing knowledge. daytime knowledge. One of the most profound examples of a technology that transformed society for the better is the printing press, invented by Johannes Gutenberg in the mid-15th century. Before the invention of the printing press, knowledge was a privilege reserved for the elite, the wealthy, the nobility, and the clergy. Books were hand-copied by scribes and were so costly that only the richest institutions, like monasteries and royal courts, could afford them. As a result, literacy was scarce, and the vast majority of the population had little access to education or information beyond what they were told by their religious and political leaders. The invention of the printing press changed all of that. For the first time, books could be mass-produced, and the cost of producing written material plummeted. This technological breakthrough democratized access to knowledge, sparking the Renaissance, Reformation, and eventually the Enlightenment. With the spread of printed material, literacy rates began to climb, and ordinary people gained access to a world of ideas previously beyond their reach. The consequences were staggering. Suddenly, information could be shared across countries and continents in a fraction of the time it once took. Ideas that challenged the status quo, such as the works of Martin Luther, Galileo, and later John Locke, were able to spread like wildfire, fueling intellectual, scientific, and political revolutions. The printing press did not just make knowledge accessible, it also made knowledge unstoppable. Those in power could no longer contain it or control its flow. The spread of literacy and printed knowledge led to the emergence of public opinion, as people from all walks of life could now engage in debates about religion, governance, and human rights. The democratization of knowledge laid the foundation for democratic societies, where power could be questioned, and where the right to information became recognized as a cornerstone of personal and political freedom. The story of the printing press offers a powerful precedent for AI. Just as the printing press made literacy and information widely accessible, so too should AI make intelligent tools and data-driven insights available to everyone. If AI is kept in the hands of a select few, it will be used to dominate and control, just as limited access to books allowed the elites to maintain control over the uneducated masses. But if AI is democratized, it can serve as a catalyst for empowerment and enlightenment. Electrification, lighting up the world. Another transformative moment in human history came with the advent of electrification. In the late 19th and early 20th centuries, electricity became the defining force that powered the modern world. For much of human history, societies relied on manual labor, animal power, and simple mechanical devices to conduct work. With the introduction of electricity, everything changed. In its early days, electricity was a luxury reserved for the wealthy. Thomas Edison's innovations in electric lighting and power generation, for example, were initially accessible only to businesses and the upper classes who could afford to install private electricity systems. But when Nikola Tesla's alternating current AC system allowed for the transmission of electricity over long distances, it became possible to build public electrical grids that could bring power to entire cities and regions. The widespread availability of electricity fundamentally transformed how people lived and worked. Factories became more efficient, leading to the mass production of goods and the growth of industrial economies. Electrification brought light to homes, allowing people to work and study after dark. It powered innovations in communication, transportation, and medicine, raising the standard of living for millions of people around the world. But just as with the printing press, the true power of electricity lay in its accessibility. When governments and private industries worked to build national electric grids, they ensured that electricity was available to rich and poor alike, transforming not just economies but also societies. Electrification reduced disparities in education, productivity, and healthcare, fostering unprecedented social mobility. The lesson here is clear. When technologies like electricity are widely distributed, they become engines of human progress. If electricity had been kept in the hands of a privileged few, its benefits would have been limited to those who could afford it, deepening social inequalities. Instead, the decision to make electricity a public utility catalyzed global economic growth and improved the quality of life for billions. This precedent underscores the importance of treating AI in the same way. AI, much like electricity in its early days, is currently concentrated in the hands of a few powerful entities, mainly large corporations and governments. But if we commit to making AI widely available and affordable, it can become a force for equitable growth, driving advances in education, healthcare, and economic productivity for all. The Internet. Connecting the world. The most recent example of a technology that has dramatically reshaped the world for the better is the Internet. As explored in previous chapters, the Internet has revolutionized how people communicate, work, learn, and participate in civic life. What started as a military and academic project in the mid-20th century quickly evolved into a global network that has, for the most part, remained open and accessible to billions of people. The Internet's most significant contribution to society is its ability to connect people across vast distances, breaking down barriers of geography, culture, and language. It has created a platform for free expression, allowing individuals to share ideas, challenge authority, and build communities around common interests. In the realm of education, the Internet has made it possible for anyone with a connection to access vast amounts of knowledge, from online courses to free digital libraries. This democratization of information has opened up opportunities for people in developing countries to learn new skills, find jobs, and improve their lives. The Internet has also fostered entrepreneurship on an unprecedented scale. Small businesses and individuals can now reach global markets with the click of a button, driving innovation and economic growth even in areas traditionally underserved by global commerce. Social media platforms have empowered marginalized voices, creating spaces for activism, social change, and community building. However, as we've seen with the digital divide, not everyone has access to these benefits. As the Internet becomes increasingly essential for full participation in modern life, ensuring equitable access remains a critical challenge toward a future of technological equality. As we prepare to explore the case studies of technologies that have benefited humanity when made widely accessible, it is essential to consider the parallels between these historical examples and the present-day development of AI. Like the printing press, electricity, and the Internet, AI has the potential to be a force for good, but only if access to it is treated as a fundamental right, rather than a commodity to be controlled by the few. The question that must guide us moving forward is this: how can we ensure that AI, one of the most powerful technologies ever developed, is made accessible to everyone? Just as previous technological revolutions were shaped by decisions about who could access them, the AI revolution will be defined by how we choose to share its benefits, or withhold them. In Part 2, we will explore examples from history where technological advancements were opened up to the masses, leading to widespread improvements in quality of life, knowledge, and freedom. These examples will show us the path forward for AI, providing a roadmap for ensuring that this